For many, President Joe Biden's visit to Ukraine came as a surprise. But there were a lot of things that they did before he actually reached Kyiv. What are those things? We're bringing you all the details. Now, normally, when US President Joe Biden is on a visit, the media desk, of course, informs all the reporters. But in this case, initially, all reporters were told that he will continue to stay put in Washington. However, President Biden slipped out, and normally, whenever the president takes an aircraft out of the country, automatically the call sign of that aircraft changes to Air Force One because the president is traveling on it. In this case, they used a different call sign, SAM 060, which usually is for a special air mission. Then he traveled to Poland, and from Poland, he took a 10-hour train ride to make his way to Kyiv, where he reached early morning, and that's where he met President Volodymyr Zelensky. Now, what happened on this train ride? He was briefed, of course, about what exactly is planned in Ukraine. He spent 5 hours in Ukraine before he took a train back to Warsaw. Now, on board on this special aircraft were 2 journalists who were sworn to secrecy, and their phones were also taken away. Now, was this entirely a secret meeting? Well, CNN reported that just hours before President Biden actually reached Ukraine, there was a communication made to Russia, where Russia was informed of President Biden's visit, only so that it would help in deconflicting the situation. However, there was an air raid siren that was heard in Kyiv while President Biden was in Kyiv. So, what was that all about? It was essentially a MiG-23 of Russia that took off from Belarus. And that MiG-23 was the reason that the air raid siren was heard. But nothing alarming really came out of it after that. Now, normally what happens in these covert operations, is it entirely new? Why is this different? Well, it's not the first time that a US president has visited an active war zone. President Obama has also done it in Afghanistan. But the difference is, here the US does not have troops on the ground. In this case, the US has no control of what's going on within Ukraine because it is an active war zone. That's also why this trip, many are saying, is different. How was it received back home for President Biden? Well, very different responses depending on who you spoke to. Now, if you talk about Republicans, they in fact said that US taxpayers are now going to pay the Ukraine government and also for the people of Ukraine. On the other hand, those who support President Biden have said that this was an incredible act of bravery, especially given the fact that this is still an active war zone. Is he the only one to have visited Ukraine? Certainly not. There have been many high-profile visits that have taken place, whether it's the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, or whether it's the former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Then Rishi Sunak as well has made his way to Ukraine. There's also the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who's made his way to Ukraine. But this is a high-profile visit, given that a US president has made his way to Ukraine. And of course, there has been a lot of talk about what exactly Ukraine gets out of this. There were a number of discussions that took place, including on how much more weapons will be supplied to Ukraine, as the anniversary is just around the corner.